So with that, this is going to be our second attempt at Vintage Cube so far. So I'm going to take this Ragavan. Ragavan seems dope. Oh, no. That's just a slap in the face. Do I still go Ragavan or do I go Fellows? Probably. Actually, I should probably be respectful and just take the Taiga. If Fellow wheels, that'd be great, but I feel like I should be doing something with the Ragavan. Ragavan just seems powerful. I just shouldn't have. I'm gonna do it. Let's screw it. let's just go. Woo, Hex Drinker. We could get a little wild with this. I mean, I'm passing a Tarn. Maybe I just take Tarn instead. All right, I'm taking a Scalding Tarn. This is Bone Crusher. Ooh, Noble. I think this is the beginning of an Omnath deck. Is Omnath still in the cube? I haven't seen Omnath yet. I'm doing it. Alright, let's go. Ooh, Sylvan Library's hot. The pick definitely is going to be a Sylvan Library here. If the Elder Gargoth wheels, that's dope. But card advantage is great here. That's a Bloodstained though. Oh no, but that's an Oracle. Ah, never mind. Oracle. Let's take the Oracle. I mean, I want the fixing, but I think why? What is this serving other than trying to make Niv Reborn more playable? what is this serving? I am sorry, but Wizards shouldn't have put this in here. Now, for mana concerns, I feel like I should just be taking Temple Garden, even though I really want Hydro Graces, but I think our mana base needs to be solid. And if we can get our mana base great, then the deck just has a low drawback. Let's take Tropical Island. Building a mana base at the beginning feels really good. Ooh, Escape to the Wilds. I think we could escape in this deck. Once we're popping locking. Yeah. Now the question is this a Titania deck? That I don't know. If we have a bunch of fetches, it can be realistic, but I'm just not just feel like you're never going to be making use of Argoth. Only time you're really doing anything is by, flipping Titania into the Gaia Incarnate. But I think we should just go with Savannah and just live with it. Tundra. I'll take Canyon here. It's actually not a terrible one. It's a Sower. We could take that. Copper Langorge. Yeah. It's a good starting land. Cast what we need. Alright. Okay, things are getting interesting now. This is an Eladamri's Call. I do like this card, actually. But I feel like this card can wheel. But yet again, maybe we should take the Tutor. I mean, there is Infernal Titan. I'd like to have it, but I don't think I could just snap it up right now. But I do like the idea of having an Eladamri's Call. This is survival, but I don't think we're a survival deck. But being able to tutor things as we see fit seems fine. Oh, Furia. Oh. No, I can't take Pestermite. I would like to take Pestermite, but I think I gotta take Fury. Fury feels good. It's nice removal. Green Sun Zenith doesn't seem terrible. Grabs Noble, grabs Oracle. I guess it's either Green Sun Zenith or a Braid. It's probably still fine, though. Yeah, I'll take the Green Sun. Garruk actually doesn't seem terrible. I like the idea of Expressive Iteration, too. That is a Delta versus Solitude, but I think we're less inclined to want Solitude. Maybe it Wheels. There's also Ewit. Oh, I like Ewit, but I feel like taking the Polluted Delta. Teferi seems nice. I'm gonna take it Teferi. That's a Huntmaster to Fells. Might not be that bad in this deck. There's also a Hallow Fountain. I should probably stop it on a mana right now. I don't mind Huntmaster. Also don't mind Wall of Roots. I think Huntmaster will wheel though. Yeah, I'll take the wall. Oh, birds! That's exactly what I want here. Oh yeah, Inferno Titan wield. Yes, please. Yeah, like Kogla. Woo! We could also repeal. Can we Ancestral Vision? Is there a likelihood that we have blue on turn 1 to Ancestral Vision? Kind of feels like a freebie. Dragon Tree Speaker isn't exciting to me in a deck like this. It's better in mono green or 2-color deck. Fiend Artisan might not be terrible. I've also kind of liked Showdown in decks like these too. Ooh, and Thundermaw. Ooh, can we get a Yorion to? Woo! Oh yeah! All right. We're not a Chow deck, but I'm happy to take a recall. Let's do it. Let's have it. Have at it. I would like to Cradle in this deck, but I think Dak is just huge. I think it's pretty massive. It's an all-star in basically every deck that has access to blue and red, so let's slam it. Oh! Oh yes! We got there. Alright, let's do it. I guess what are we hoping to win from this pack? I don't know. I mean, obviously Wood of Full Hills is not gonna be there. Imperial Recruiter is probably not gonna be there. Zealous Concert is also probably not gonna be there. So it's also possible Signet won't be here. I feel like when we see this pack next, it's gonna have like a Mentor, Jungle Hubs, and we're gonna be crying. But oh my gosh! Oh, people, what are you doing? Oh my gosh! I mean, this is not a Mana Vault deck, but this is definitely an Oko deck. Why? I mean, like, I'm not out of left field here, right? Like, oh my gosh. This is unreal. This is not happening right now. You know, I'll take it. I'll hope the garden wheels, but I don't know what's happening. Okay, things have settled down, but that was outrageous. Can we natural order in this deck? Is that still viable? I don't know if I want to though. Probably not. Wait. Does Oko turn a creature's? Oh, wait. Ooh. Maybe just to get Kogla. Okay, I can see it. Regrowth. But Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks not terrible as a Cyberker, but Regrowth for this type of deck seems nice. If we had Frig, if we had Field, I'd be happy to take Reclaimer. We don't, so I'm not happy to take Reclaimer. I think to go alongside Copperline Gorge, I feel like I want Spiregluff Canal. I mean, Chandra would be nice, but Chandra feels awkward. Like, it's not necessarily a team player. Could be fine, though. It's either Canal or Chandra. Maybe it is Chandra. Maybe we do have a side of Planeswalker control. Oh, Sylvan Caryatid's fantastic for this deck. Kind of wish I could make Snapcaster work, but definitely Caryatid. Okay, I just want to know, why is this fetch land wheeling? I do not understand. I will happily take it, but this does not make sense to me. How is this happening? I have a. Do I take the fair or do I take Cradle? I actually don't know what to take here. I think I have to take the fairy though. I'm gonna take the fairy. I don't think I can Cradle here. How does Elder wheel here? Unfortunately, this deck doesn't work for Recruiter. Like, unless we grab Oracle, but I'll happily take the Elder to ramp. Time Warp's fantastic. I seriously, I don't know what's happening. Okay. Yeah, let's figure this out here. Alright, so I don't know what happened at draft, but there were a bunch of cards that came around that should not have come around. So I'm very curious. That was something. Huh. All right, so let's start off with Vision, Recall, Ragavan, Birds, Noble. Elder, Caryatid, Library, Iteration, Regrowth, Teferi, Dak, Oko. Yeah, it's possible we just don't play Chandra, but I mean, on 4, it's kind of hard not to. But Omnath, Oracle. Every time I look at Natural Order and just be like, grabbing Kogla, is that really what I want to do? I guess since we're going to play Kogla anyways, then maybe it's just fine. So I'll play it. Chandra, I'll have to think about it, but I want Time Warp, Fury, Teferi. We might just not need to play Escape. Inferno Tide and Kogla. We don't need Green Sun. Repeal feels okay though. Make a bunch of mana, bounce something. Now, even though we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 mana dorks alongside Omnath, I think we still need to play 17 lands. I don't think we can get away with 16 unless we had like a Mox or something. So one more spell should do it. Question is it a 4-drop or a 5-drop? It could be a 4-drop. Since since we're looking to go 2 to 4 as opposed to 1, like we could still go 1 to 3, but we're more interested in going 2 to 4. So maybe that means Chandra is just kind of what we should be doing. Now, in terms of the mana, I guess a Botanical Sanctum would have been nice, which we passed at some point. But yeah, let's go Heath, Tarn, Delta. Gets us all our lands pretty much. Savannah, Taiga, Temple, Trop, Tundra. So we got good mana to a degree. I guess we need Copperline, so we have that extra red source. But we got a good amount of Bant mana. Maybe I should have taken a Stompground at some point. We passed some lands that I guess we could have taken. Okay. So I think that's it. Hey everyone. Unfortunately, due to external issues with the stream, the matches for this draft were unrecoverable. So I'm going to be trying something different here, where I'm going to be trying out some overhead commentary with the rounds that were played. So let's hop on in and let me know what you think of this alternative option as a potential option in case things like this happen again in the future. So, in my first round, I started on play. So we're in upkeep. I kept this hand. My opponent also kept on 7. So let's just start here. First play being a mountain. And I use that to play Ragavan. So strong start. Because Ragavan is very powerful, especially in Vintage Cube. So move on to the opponent's turn. They decide to play March Flats, and they end their turn and pass back to me. So what I do is obviously I move to combat, and I swing on in with the lovely monkey, and I get some value going on here. So we trigger Ragavan and flip over an Esper Sentinel. So I play a couple Iron Gorge. I decide to play the Esper Sentinel off the treasure token, and also proceed to cast the Birds of Paradise off the Gorge. I end my turn. Opponent sacks March Flats for plains, and they proceed to play their island. They suspend a Riftwing Cloudscape, so in 3 turns, it'll come off the stack to bounce permanent. We move back to my turn again, and I proceed to attack with both Ragavan and the Esper Sentinel, and yet again get to trigger the monkey, and this time flipping over a Mother Runes. So I cast that off my Bird's Paradise, saving the treasure token. I shock, holding up, I believe, Repeal, in case they play something I want to bounce. They play a Horizon Canopy and Nature's Pass, again. So what do? We go to combat. And lovely Ragavan and Esper Sentinel hop back in, and again, deal 3 damage. And trigger the Ragavan to now flip a 30-minute Inspector. I kind of misplayed here, as I shouldn't have played the Favorite Inspector first. What I should have done was played the Fairy first, and you can probably see why. Fortunately, hindsight, but it's fine. I mean, it's not the end of the world. So we play the Polluted Delta, we sack it, we go get, I believe, a Tundra, yeah. And then we cast the Fairy, only for it to get hammered by a lovely Spell Queller. Unfortunately, I did not have enough mana to repeal the spell Queller when it goes into play, exiling the Teferi. If I didn't play the Theriman Inspector, I'd been able to do that. Because then the spell card is back in their hand. I have the Teferi, now they can't interact at its speed, and the game would therefore then be over a lot sooner. But we just have to keep trucking along here. Cloudskate goes down to 1 counter. They take another damage, authorize a canopy, resolving Adeline. So since they're tapped out here, it's going to make things a lot of fun for me as I cast Repeal on the Spell Queller, which in turn allows me to recast Teferi. Teferi comes into play, and then I bounce Adeline, draw on a card, which is the Time Warp, and I proceed in attacking for 4. Putting them to 5, but I believe soon after they concede after seeing me exile the Wandering Emperor. Okay, so now back with game 2. We lose the die roll. Well, I mean, we don't lose the die roll, but it says right there. We obviously, opponent here decides to be on the play because I don't know. In most scenarios, I cannot imagine you'd want to be on the draw. So we see this hand, we don't like it, so we ship it. We go to 6. This hand's a lot better. We ship away a Forest. As this deck does not particularly need much green as opposed to red. But yeah, so Photo Swords over Plains, they again do nothing. We go Forest into Noble Hierarch. That's turn back. Then they go Plains. Proceed to play Wall of Omens to get in our way. We play Forest. And play some Caryatid. And pass again. So we're just trying to ramp up at this point to a Fury. They go White Plains. Figure of Destiny. Pump it, and then pass. We draw an island. Well, we play an island. We suspend the Ancestral Vision, and then we just pass the turn again, as attacking with a potential 1/2 is not great in the face of a Figure of Destiny as a 2/2. Opponent proceeds to then play another Plains. They attack for 2, threatening to pump to a 4/4, but I see through that and choose on the block. But then they decide to play a Gideon, ally of Zendikar, which for me is a little awkward. But we get out of suspend here. So unfortunately here, instead of playing the Fury, I instead chose to play Kogla. Kogla, I have Fight, Figure of Destiny, which at the moment was the correct play. However, I do feel like it would have probably been better for me to just straight up kill the ally token. Because now what they end up doing is swords my Kogla. They activate the Gideon, which is fine, I don't mind. I take 7, I go to 18. And then they play Lurrus, which then allows them to recast the Figure of Destiny. So we draw Plains, we play a Mountain. We then decide to Heartcast this Fury to kill the Lurrus and Figure of Destiny. And now we just gotta figure out a way to get through what they got on their side. But what do? They just play another land. All the lands. They flood out. I mean, normally would be bad for a deck that my opponent is playing, but somehow it was very good for them. So what do? They overload Winds of Abandon. It's all like, okay, I got all these lands into play. And now I'm just trying to find some answers before I'm dead in like 3 turns. So I'm down to 11. I draw a Sylvan Library. Just tap my mana. And I hold the planes just in case I find an Omnath, because gaining life is very crucial here. So they activate Gideon. Maybe for number 7, I go to 4. And they continue the pressure by suspending a Riftwing Cloudscape. So this is where the fun begins. Because the Ascension Vision is coming off. So we draw 3 initial cards. Plus 1 and the additional 2. Which was pretty sweet. So we end up putting back, I put 1 back, and then I also put the Oracle back. Then I go from there to cast Omnath. Well, first I play my planes because I realize I can't cast Omnath without the planes, because my first desire was to go Windswept Heath after casting Omnath, but I can't do that right now. But what I can do is go Omnath, draw the Oracle Modiah that I put on the top, play the Oracle, which now allows me to play an additional land this turn, which being the Windswept Heath. So I game 4, right? Then I get the Crack. I get rid of the Gorge. I believe grab Tundra. Yeah. Get 4 mana. And then proceed to slam down Thundermaw Hellkite. Which, by doing so, allows me to have a hasty threat against Gideon, putting Gideon from 6 to 1. That was one heck of a turn. And kind of finds a way to pull me back into the game, while the opponent is still having a hard time trying to get their Cloudscape off suspend. So from here, opponent draws, they go 3-mana Spectre, they get a Clue token, they crack the Clue token, and then cast Adeline. So they go activate Gideon again, they get aggressive. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just block the 1/1 and take 5 again and go to 2. Because at this point, I feel safe. I summon library, I choose to use ability again, I put the Troubadour on top with the Temple Garden also on top. I play the Temple Garden to game 4. I choose to not shock. And then I cast Expressive Iteration. I find Birds of Paradise, Stack Faden, and Elder. I believe first I did a mistake by putting the Birds of Paradise in my hand, but I was able to control Z undo. So what I actually wanted to do was put the Faden in my hand, bottom the birds, exile the Elder, and there's a Ragavan on top. So I decided to play the Elder. I then proceed to combat. I attack Gideon to finish it off with Thundermaw Hellkite, so now I no longer have to deal with that problem. From there, I Time Warp, so that I can get more damage in, while slowing my opponent down even further. So from there, I kind of make the mistake of putting 2 cards back. I realized I should have kept 2 cards, paying for life, because I would have been able to play Dack Faden and draw extra cards and do more things. I ended up becoming constrained in that fact, because now I don't want to get rid of Oko. So I play the Tropical Island for the top. I gain 4 life. I start humming and hawing, and then I go to combat. I attack again for 5 in the air to go to 15. Then, after combat, I decide to play Oko so that I can turn Adeline into a 3/3, and opponent decides to concede. Alright, so we're back for round 2. I lost the die roll, so my opponent will be on the play here. And I kept this hand. It's a pretty nice hand. So opponent starts off with a Sequel Ghost. and they pass the turn. I go Gorge into Noble Hierarch. That's pretty sweet play. I don't want to play the Recall instead because then I'm susceptible to like discarding cards. I don't want to discard my sweet cards. So opponent starts off turn 2 if a Covenant Gorge passes. Well, I decide to kind of mirror them by playing blue-white land in my own Tundra. And I attack for 1. Because gotta get them beats in, you know? So they do nothing, and then we just pass the turn. Pass the turn. So we're in our opponent's turn 3. Oh, he's clicking. It's annoying. Okay, they play an island. Getting in combat, they do nothing, so they move on to ending their turn. So ending the turn, I decide to fire off a recall, and then gonna do my thing. So I untap, draw, I play Tropical Island. I then decide to try to slam down Oracle Mul Daya. It worked. I then get to play Savannah, and then I play my Bird's Paradise and pass the turn. So opponent's turn 4 to play Silent Clearing, and they choose to take a damage to play Leovold. It's cool, Leovold. Clearly, we can ignore Leovold. I play 2 lands, and then I decide to play Fury. Fury is sweet. I'm okay with giving them I'm fine with giving them a card, as long as I can get Leovold off the table, because I don't know what they're trying to do, but it just seems better that way. We attack opponent for 3 off the Oracle Mul Daya and Exalted trigger, and we also get to hold up a repeal for Exes 2. And we're still doing all this with Natural Order still remaining in hand, so I'm pretty covered on most bases. Opponent is now deciding on what to do. They decide to shock off a shrine, and I believe they cast Shieldred. So I can see what they're trying to do, like Leovold, Shieldred, some Time Twister action, right? Just drain me to no end. Yep, and then just pass. So on my upkeep, to avoid triggering Shieldred, I decide to just repeal the Shieldred. And we draw Ragavan, that's fine. We play our island. We attempt to dash to Ragavan, and I believe opponent gets it. Okay. So we're back for game 2. Opponent is back on the play again. So let's see how things go. So opponent keeps. I also keep. Opponent decides to go bonkers and go turn 1 fast bond. So they play Flooded Strand. They crack the Flooded Strand for the Tropical Island. They shock for Galder Shrine. Play a Mox. And go turn 1 Duretti. Iconoclast. Ingenious Iconoclast. You can see here that they're already down to 1 card in hand. We are very far behind. They make a 1/1. I kind of just tried to tread water, but I think I don't know how soon I really should have conceded, because even from this state, it's probably hard to even get in, because all these construct tokens kind of just sack at ease to destroy whatever I'm trying to do, right? It's an artifact for creature. So yeah, so they make another token, they go Knight of Reliquary, and then it's like, what am I really doing? I believe I just play Recall in end turn, try to draw some cards, but none of it is exciting. I think possibly if I had drawn... I think if I would have drawn like a Mana Dork and they just ignore it, maybe I could get away with a Natural Order, but not really. So I go Civil Library, discarding a Forest because I had too many cards. They go Jace, and they're just trucking along now. I mean, it's not like time was a matter. I don't think time was an issue here, but it's possible I should have just conceded at this point. But I persevered, only for it to get worse and worse. Yeah, I draw extra cards here. put some cards back, but iteration, I keep the Teferi, I bottom the repeal, and I put the Force into play. I have to discard another card, discard another Forest. So I can make all the green in the world. They just keep making defender constructs that are there just to, kill my stuff. They decide to sack clearing to draw a card, Blade Splicer, and it's pretty gnarly here. They smacked me for 6, but I think at this point I decided to concede once I realized that Duretti is close. Well, Duretti doesn't need a -6, but it's just like, what is the point? Alright, so we're back to game 3 here. I lost game 2, so I get to choose Beyond a Play. I happily Beyond a Play. I believe I keep this hand. Yep. So I get this hand. I start out with Force, and I pass a turn. They go Gala Shrine taps, which for me is tame, because game 2 was pretty wild. So I start off turn 2 with the Plains, and I believe I go off with Sylvan Caryatid, because I just want to ramp into like something quick. But also I wanted to get Recall online. So if they can't deal with Caryatid, then we're happy. They go Island Mox Ruby into Blade Splicer, which is okay. And then, so I draw an iteration. I decide to recall myself. And then I tap 2 to play Library, play the Forest, and pass. So I give my opponent the time to try to set up. They try to do that. They play Jace into the Garden tapped, and I believe attack me for 4, which is acceptable. So I go to 16. I trigger Sylvan Library. I put back Omnath. And then I play Island. I repeal the token. I then play Oracle Modiah and pass the turn. Activates Jace. Discards Jetmir's Garden. They play Blitzing Mars, sack it, or Bayou. And then they tap 4 mana for lovely Shieldred. So now we do a lot of battling back and forth with Shieldred. So this is also a very interesting interaction. I had a bit of interesting interaction this draft. So Shieldred, as you can see, says when an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. And because of Sylvan Library, if I were to use the ability, I draw 2 extra cards. Therefore, I take 4 extra damage, pretty much. Lose 4 extra life. So in this scenario, luckily, it's a you may. So for many turns you'll see, I choose to just opt out of drawing extra cards, slowing my game plan down. But you can probably see in my situation here, I got this Wizard Heath. I'm about to do some juicy stuff. So I go to 12. I say no. I proceed by playing Omnath, so I can get the fun beginning. So I draw the Heath. I then have Oko on top. I play the Heath. Game 4, I sack it immediately. I go grab a Taiga. I now have a Vision on top. I make 4 mana. I proceed to cast my Teferi, which will allow me to bounce Shieldred for a bit. And I choose not to attack because I'm worried that if they were to draw a kill spell, then they just kill my Teferi. So they draw a card, discarding Gorge. They have Breeding Pool, Shock, and proceed to play. Oh yeah, Consecrated Sphinx. Yeah, so they proceed to play Consecrated Sphinx, which is another kind of like a thorn in my butt. But if we can deal with Shieldred, I believe we can also deal with Consecrated Sphinx. So they draw 2 extra cards because I drew for the turn. And yet again, can't really use Sylvan Library because we don't want to give them more options of drawing more cards, as we want to end this match as fast as possible as opposed to prolonging it. So what do? I say no. So from here, I decided to play my Express. Actually, no, sorry. I decided to not play Expressive Iteration. I was trying to, but then I realized no. So I start off with Elder. I then sack the Elder because Time Warp is an awkward card in this situation, as I don't want to give them more abilities to draw cards. So I fetch out a Mountain Tapped, which allows me to game 4. Then, luckily, because I needed it, I got a Mountain on top. And this allows me to kind of pop off. So I play the Mountain, I get 4 extra mana. I start off by playing, I believe, Chandra. Chandra minus 3 to deal 4 damage to the Sphinx. Then I use the extra mana to cast Fury to allow me to deal 2 damage to Consecrated Sphinx and 2 damage to Jace. So now that kind of clears the board a bit. I get to uptick to Fairy, draw a card, and then I play the Tarn and deal an extra 4 damage to my opponent's face. And now I get to get a little aggressive with my Omnath and Oracle, as I don't care if they kill my Fury and kill Chandra. At this point, Teferi is really the one that I wanted to protect, and I succeeded in doing so. So, end of turn, I decided to untap Taiga Mountain. I now have my opponent at 7. Opponent draws, plays Tropical Island. They tap 4 mana for, guess who? Shieldred! And that's pretty much where it kind of ends, because if you notice a sweet interaction that I'm about to do, I untap. I, again, choose not to use Sylvan Library, so it kind of was awkward. Maybe I should have decided it out. But, so here I go. I start off with Noble Hierarch, and because Noble Hierarch is a human, Kogla, if you haven't seen it, adds ability of the colorless green, return target human to my hand. Kogla is indestructible. So what I end up doing is, well, I play my land first. I game 4. I don't really need to sack, as I had a Gorge on top too, so I game 4 mana. So I go ahead and cast Kogla, and with the trigger on stack of Kogla, I choose to fight Shieldred and then bounce Noble Hierarch to my hand so that Kogla survives. And before we get to do so, opponent just concedes because they see the writing on the wall. Okay, we're back for round 3. So I again lost a die roll. So opponent chooses to play first, which is understandable. I choose to keep this hand. So opponent starts us off with a Xander's Lounge. And they pass. So I go turn 1 Forest and to Noble. So opponent now goes Ponder. They chose to shuffle, and then they drew a card. Don't know if that was Mox Ruby, but they decided to play the Mox Ruby. They play a Water Grove. So they tap Mox Ruby and Water Grove to cast Red and 6 and proceed to kill my Noble Hierarch. Which, unfortunately, sucks for me, but I'm kind of lucky. And I draw a Mountain. So I raw draw a Mountain, so that allows me to dash my Ragavan to kill the Red and 6 and to stop the annoyances. So now we do that. Red and 6 is out of the way. We pass a turn. They play Air Mesa. They crack it. They fetch a Mountain. And then they proceed to cast Izzet Signet and invoke a Muldrifter. So they get to draw 2 more cards. So now we draw. We got a sweet little Oko here. But I decide to just redash Ragavan because, hey, why not? Free value, right? So we attack. We flip an Unholy Heat, which does nothing. So instead, we just decide to cast Secure Tri-Builder and pass. So opponent's turn, they play Strip Mine, getting rid of a tropical island. And they pay 5 mana to cast Goldspan Dragon, which is going to prompt me to have to deal with it. So, what do? I choose to evoke Fury by pitching Expressive Iteration. I then choose to kill Goldspan Dragon. Unfortunately, in this situation, I kind of made a mistake. You'll see in a second. So, I successfully get rid of Goldspan Dragon. They unfortunately have 2 red floating. I did not really consider a removal spell. So I foolishly play my Ragavan into the open mana, only for it to get stomped. I mean, I guess it's okay. I mean, I did get the lure of them into the situation, but basically, I attack for 1, they go to 13, pass the turn, it's their turn, they decide to play the island, they suspended the Social Vision, and casted their Bone Crusher from exile. So luckily, like a lucky player would do, I top deck a forest. So let's have at it. Natural order on my Secure Tri-Builder. And go grab Kogla and fight Oracle. For dreams to be had. And for fun to be had. Solely by me. So what did he do? And now in panic mode, they sacrifice a Wild Grove to find more cards. Vision counter goes down. They play Mountain. And then they cast a Fury, which unfortunately does nothing against Kogla. But it is a good blocker against Kogla. But little does the opponent know, I have a sweet card, Kodoko, which is just going to ruin their whole situation, and they concede. Okay, well, so opponent lost game 1. They decide to be on the play. Again. Look at these lovely hands for my deck. Like, this deck was sweet. So opponent starts with Library of Alexandria, which is a great turn 1 land. Now, obviously, that's what you want. But the opponent doesn't realize that my hand is also dope. So what do? We play Forest into a Bird's Paradise and pass turn. So we draw Chandra, but basically what I do is I dash Ragavan. I get in. I then trigger. Flipping an Expressive Iteration. I play Taiga, and I instead cast Carrington and leaving their iteration in exile. So I didn't feel the need, but I needed to cast it based on what I got right now. So they go Strip Mine. Obviously, they're going to go after my Taiga again. They draw a card off the library. They play Ponder, but they're going to have to discard it in turn anyways. They chose to shuffle again. So they discard a Seasoned Pyromancer, which is fine, it's understandable. The thing is that against my deck, like Strip Mine effects just kind of feel unnecessary. Like, I feel like you want your lands more than you're trying to disrupt me, because I'm just going to go off with lots of lands anyways. So, I draw a Delta, I play Tundra, I just decide, hey, you know what? Opportunity here. Play Chandra, +1 to make 2 mana dash Ragavan. Just do it again. I exile their Ancestral Vision. Unfortunately, I can't cast it because I realize that the Suspend is cast from hand. So it's a dead card, but it's fine. It means that my opponent does not have access to it now. So we can see all the cards that Ragavan decides to hit. Good old Ragavan, having its fun. So they go Island, draw Library, and then cast, suspend a Cloudscape. I'm gonna tap again. It's gonna just be this, so I draw Fire, I draw Titan, I play the Plains, I uptick, and dash Ragavan again. I decide to attack. This time I flip a... Come on. Come on. I know you can't block. It's fine. So we flip the Muldrifter, which is insane in this situation because now I don't have to play Infernodon. I can just play the Muldrifter and keep the 2/2. Oh, that's great. And not lose any treasure tokens. So I draw 2 more cards. It's great. Natural Order Kogla. I mean, Natural Order is kind of mostly dead now, unless I want to tutor up Omnath, but I'm not, So, Ragavan back in my hand. Cloudscape goes down to 2 counters. And opponent just... They play Mountain. They're obsessed with drawing more cards instead of developing their board. I don't know what they're really looking forward to do against what I'm currently doing. But they just kind of pass again. Discarding this time their Chandra. So clearly they're having mana issues. So I guess maybe they're constantly drawing cards because they're looking for a second red, so they're having color situation issues, but I don't know. I think there's got to be more cards in their hand. Like, they have 7 cards in hand. Their whole hand can't be double red spells. You know what I mean? So I feel like they don't realize the urgency that they're in, and so they keep drawing cards. But that's fine because I'm doing other things. So they decide on my upkeep to kill to unholy my Chandra because they have 4 different card types in the graveyard. So they have Delirium, which is fine. Chandra did a lot. So I'm okay with this. So we draw. We play our Tropical Island. And what do I do again? Ragavan Dash. So I decide to attack for 4. Put them to 10. Flip another card. And I flip Upheaval. So this is what they're eventually working towards, but now without Upheaval. Usually the decks that want Upheaval people, they very heavily rely on needing to find Upheaval. So the fact that I found it for them, and we'll leave it in exile, means that their deck has just lost the majority of its power. And if they're trying to look to 1-for-1 me, it's going to be very grim for my opponent. So I decide now to just hard cast Infernal Titan, and they just concede, and that was it. And with that, that's another trophy in the bag, number 2, this time with 4-color Omnath. So let's keep them going.